Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3741 AN. Today's date is September 29th, 2025, and the title of the episode is Chatter, is Treasury Secretary ready to revalue gold and increase the Treasury balance sheet? What I find very interesting, that 1 in 4 low-income households spend 15% or more of their income on energy bills. This leaves many families having to decide between putting food on the table or paying their power bills. Since 2022, retail electricity costs have increased faster than the rate of inflation. This is why I use this magical little device and would never go a month without it. It is state-of-the-art energy-saving tool that minimizes dirty electricity and environmental impact. This gadget can be effortlessly connected to any regular electrical socket and employs advanced technology to oversee and fine-tune energy usage in your household. By scrutinizing and modifying the electric current, it can notably diminish the quantity of energy consumed by your home appliances and gadgets without impairing their effectiveness or operation, and help support lowering your energy bills. Do your wallet a favor and grab one while it's on sale now for up to 60% off only at don'twastepower.com before your next pricey power bill comes in. Plus, if you order now, you'll also get a 60-day 100% money-back guarantee and several other bonuses. Once again, that deal is only at don'twastepower.com or click the link in the description. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum, you can see that they have been panicking since Trump came back into office because he's turning their economic system upside down. And the Federal Reserve, they are panicking like they've never panicked before because, again, they've never really been challenged since 1913. And they've been flying under the radar. They've been pushing their agenda. And now we have an outsider that's building a parallel economic system using external revenue and countering everything the Federal Reserve has been doing since 1913. And you have to remember, the Federal Reserve, they need to move very, very slowly, methodically, because, again, they just can't come out and say, listen, we're going to tax every single person. And then, it's going to happen over time. We're going to just continually raise the taxes because our currency loses value. And as it loses value, we don't want anyone to notice. So what we're going to do is we're going to place regulations on the country. And as we implement more regulations, we're going to be moving the manufacturers out of this country, because if we kept them in this country, everyone would realize that, wait a minute, why doesn't our fiat currency go that far? Why is it losing value? Why do I need a lot more pieces of paper to buy the same exact product? But if they move the manufacturers and the corporations out of this country, no one will notice, and we can continue on with our agenda. Now, again, they're not going to tell everyone that. They're not going to say, hey, this is what we're doing. So what they do it very, very slowly, and they make it seem like that this is naturally occurring. Inflation is naturally happening. This is what happens when you're in this type of economy. Just get used to it. And over time, people think that this is normal. They think a central bank economic system is normal with inflation. Now, again, this is not normal. This is not the way the Founding Fathers wanted this. They've seen this in the past when they looked at all different countries, and they actually fought a war so we wouldn't have anything like this. This is why our Founding Fathers wanted us to coin our own money. This is why we were backed by gold and silver. And you have to remember, Bitcoin didn't exist back then. So the only thing that they had was gold and silver. Now, they put it into the Constitution, hoping that the central bank wouldn't be able to basically sneak their way back in to our system, but they've done this 3 times. So I think it's about time that we add more amendments into the Constitution and explicitly saying that we don't want any type of outside source creating our currency. Now, of course, they're going to have to change the wording and make it a lot better than I just said. But again, I think we're going to need something like that, and we're going to need a couple of laws in there to make sure that this never happens again, and have this be included within the Constitution as amendments, because I don't think the Founding Fathers went far enough, because, again, you could see all the different tactics that they've been using. And since Trump came down that escalator, and since he got elected to his 3rd term, yes, I said 3rd term, they have been panicking because he's moving forward with his agenda to basically remove the entire Federal Reserve System. And I do believe that's what exactly he's doing, because piece by piece, what he's doing, he's bringing the companies back to this country. He's bringing the manufacturers back to this country and rebuilding the country like it was before the Federal Reserve came into existence. And yes, this is not going to be a snap of a finger type of process, but it's going to be a lot quicker than what the Federal Reserve has done to us, because it's very easy to say to the people of this country, listen, would you like him to get rid of all income tax? Well, he doesn't need 20 years. He could do this within a snap of a finger. Of course, he needs to make sure that his parallel economic system is up and running and it's countering everything the Federal Reserve has been doing. He also could say, listen, we need to bring the manufacturers and the companies back to this country. He could do this very, very quickly. He doesn't have to wait 20, 30 years, and the people will accept it. So yes, is he moving very, very quickly? Absolutely. Is the Federal Reserve, is the deep state, are they panicking? Yes, because they cannot move as quick. Because what's their argument? No, we want to keep the companies out of this country. The only argument they have right now, and it might change with maybe some type of an event, is, hey, we might see inflation. Now, remember, the only inflation that we ever see is created by the central bank. It's the creation of currency. As the currency dilutes the currency that's already in existence, it devalues your pieces of paper, which means you need more of them to buy the same exact item. So they're the ones who are responsible for this, and this is pretty much the only argument that they can push. Now, they can bring down the economy. They can say there's a recession. But again, they're going to need some type of an event, because Trump now is creating the parallel economic system, which is going to counter everything they're trying to do. And as Trump moves forward with the tariffs, think about what argument they've been using. Is tariffs bad? Are deals that Trump is making, are they bad? No, they're just using the case of inflation. That's all they have. Trump knows this, and he's using it against them every step of the way. And think about how fast he's moving right now to bring the creation of furniture, drugs, movies, all of this back to this country. Because again, it was pushed out of this country, and now he's reversing this. Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said the following: our movie-making business has been stolen from the United States of America by other countries, just like stealing candy from a baby. California, with its weak and incompetent governor, has been particularly hard hit. Therefore, in order to solve this long-time, never-ending problem, I'll be imposing a 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again, President DJT. Now, think about how he's now moving forward with additional tariffs. Because, again, the other tariffs, the other deals that he has made, they're settling down now. No one has seen inflation. The Fed's favorite inflation indicator is not flashing red saying, oh, we have crazy inflation. So at this point in time, he now sees the board. He says, okay, everything has calmed down. We got the deals made. There is no inflation. Now it's time to move to the next level. We're going to add on additional tariffs. And this is exactly what he's doing. And you could see with furniture, a lot of the furniture manufacturing has been moved out of North Carolina. North Carolina is a very big manufacturing state. What I find very interesting, that 1 in 4 low-income households spend 15% or more of their income on energy bills. This leaves many families having to decide between putting food on the table or paying their power bills. Since 2022, retail electricity costs have increased faster than the rate of inflation. This is why I use this magical little device and would never go a month without it. It is state-of-the-art energy-saving tool that minimizes dirty electricity and environmental impact. This gadget can be effortlessly connected to any regular electrical socket and employs advanced technology to oversee and fine-tune energy usage in your household. By scrutinizing and modifying the electric current, it can notably diminish the quantity of energy consumed by your home appliances and gadgets without impairing their effectiveness or operation, and help support lowering your energy bills. Do your wallet a favor and grab one while it's on sale now for up to 60% off only at don'twastepower.com before your next pricey power bill comes in. Plus, if you order now, you'll also get a 60-day 100% money-back guarantee and several other bonuses. Once again, that deal is only at don'twastepower.com or click the link in the description. And of furniture, and it's been moved to China and many other countries. And Trump, he's placing tariffs on China and many other countries to bring this back to North Carolina. This is what he put out on Truth. In order to make North Carolina, which has completely lost its furniture business to China and other countries, great again, I will be imposing substantial tariffs on any country that does not make its furniture in the United States. Details to follow, President DJT. Now, of course, why is he doing all this? Because, again, he's not finished. He needs to bring everything the central bankers has stolen from us. And as he continues to do this throughout this year, people are going to start to take notice because people are going to start to realize the jobs are coming back. The manufacturing plants, they are now being created. The plants that are already here, they're expanding. More jobs are being created by all of this, and nobody is seeing inflation. And actually, what's going to happen is the price of manufactured goods in this country, they're going to go down in price, which is going to be very, very interesting because think about what Trump is doing. He is now increasing the wages in this country while bringing down energy costs, bringing down or keeping inflation steady. So you're not going to have the problem of inflation, which is caused by the central bank system. And since we're not seeing the dilution of the currency and we're seeing energy decline, this puts more money in your pocket. When he takes it to the next level and he says, okay, no more income tax, people's buying power goes way, way up. Think about it. As we continually cut rates, what happens? People have more buying power. People can purchase items at a cheaper rate. They don't have to spend as much out of pocket. So by doing this, this basically helps the economy grow. And as the economy grows, what happens? Trump's system gets stronger and stronger. Remember, it's not the Federal Reserve that's going to get stronger and stronger. It's Trump's system that's going to get stronger and stronger. And as it gets stronger and stronger, he can compete with the Federal Reserve, and he can basically, in the end, wean us off the Federal Reserve, like we've been saying, and move us to his new system. Now, while he's doing this, yes, he's putting certain things into place to which I do believe he's going to start to introduce the gold factor. And yes, he's already mentioned stablecoin. He's already mentioned cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency reserves. But I do believe eventually, as we move into 2026, maybe even sooner than that, as we could see, he's already starting to mention gold. I think he's going to start to mention gold more and more and more. And he's not going to just come out and say, by the way, I love gold. We're going to bring gold into this country. I think he's going to do it very slowly. And I think it's going to be done maybe via other countries. And eventually here in this country where we're going to revalue gold. Now, what's very interesting, the Kobesi letter put this out, Switzerland is proposing investing in the U.S. gold refining industry to reach a trade deal with President Trump for lower tariffs. Switzerland is asking Trump to lower tariffs from the 39% rate that is currently imposed. So that is very, very interesting. So Switzerland's pitch isn't just gold. Bern is offering a U.S. gold refinery or capacity expansion, plus more U.S.-made pharma, defense purchases, and LNG deals to win relief from the 39% tariff imposed on August 7th. So that's very interesting that they're looking to help out with gold. So I do believe this is where we're headed. We're headed to a place where I think eventually gold is going to be revalued. Now, what's very interesting is that the U.S. Treasury, the amount of gold that we have now, of course, we still have to do an audit, but let's just use with what is being reported in Fort Knox, we have now topped $1 trillion for the first time. So on the back of a 45% surge in the price of gold this year, the U.S. Treasury's hoard of gold has surpassed $1 trillion in value for the first time in history. There is more than 90 times what's stated on the government balance sheet and is reigniting speculation that Treasury Secretary Bessent could revalue, mark to market, the massive pile of gold. Unlike most countries, the U.S. gold is held by the government directly, rather than the central bank. The Fed instead holds gold certificates corresponding to the value of the Treasury's holding and credits the government with dollars in return. That means we have detailed previously that an update of the reserves in line with today's prices would unleash roughly $990 billion into the Treasury coffers, dramatically reducing the need to issue quite so many Treasury bonds this year. Germany, Italy, and South Africa have taken the decision to revalue their reserves in recent decades. U.S. gold remarking would have implications for both the Treasury and the Fed balance sheet. U.S. Treasury Assets would rise by the value of the gold, remarking the liabilities would rise by the size of gold certificates issued to the Fed. The Federal Reserve, assets would rise by value of gold certificates, and liabilities would rise by accrediting of cash in the Treasury cash balance. And here is the punchline. The Fed balance sheet impact would look like QE through no open market purchases would be required, and Fed liability growth would initially be in TGA. In other words, the best of both worlds. A QE-like operation, one which would see the Fed quietly funnel almost $700 billion in cash to the Treasury, but without actually doing a thing. On net, a gold remarking would increase the size of both Treasury and Fed balance sheets and allow the TGA to be used for Treasury priorities, like paying down the debt, fund the deficit. The Fed and Treasury magically conjure some $990 billion out of thin air to be spent on whatever, all because the Treasury agrees that the fair value of gold is the fair value of gold. Now, what happens if they decide to revalue the gold at a much higher price? Are they going to do it right now at, say, $3,800? Or are they going to wait until a specific period of time where they say, okay, now we're going to revalue? Is it going to be 5,000? Is it going to be 10,000? But I do believe that's where all this is headed. And what's very interesting is that Trump decided to mention gold, but not in the way you think. This is what Trump put out on Truth. Some of the highest quality 24-karat gold used in the Oval Office and cabinet room of the White House. Foreign leaders and everyone else freak out when they see the quality and the beauty. Best Oval Office ever in terms of success and look. So it's very interesting. He shows a whole table of gold, and it's 24-karat gold. And I find this very, very interesting because, again, in the end, what's going to happen is as gold is revalued, as people start to realize that the fiat currency is losing value, because that's what happens when you revalue gold. If you're revaluing gold at 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, you're looking at the fiat currency saying, okay, what's going on here? The central bank currency is losing value, very, very quickly. And is it really worth anything? Because gold wouldn't be going up if the currency was staying steady. And actually, I think over the long period of time since 1970, remember, inflation is cumulative. So I think gold now is catching up to what has been happening, because you have to remember the Federal Reserve, they've been manipulating gold so you wouldn't notice that the fiat currency has been losing value. And I do believe eventually what's going to happen is we're going to break free of the paper markets. And once that happens, you're going to see gold really start to move. And I think this is going to get to probably around $10,000, $15,000 an ounce. And I think this is when the Treasury, U.S. Secretary Treasury Scott Bessent, I think when he revalues the gold at this higher rate, it's going to give the U.S. a lot more than $990 billion. And I do believe this is how they can counter everything the Fed is doing. And this is going to wake a lot of people up, and people are going to be absolutely shocked, because when you have gold continually moving up and silver continually moving up, and I do believe silver is going to really move. I think that it's going to move higher than $150 an ounce eventually. And I think people are going to be very, very surprised about that, because, again, both of these metals, they've been kept down for a very long time. Because think about it. If they didn't have manipulation, they didn't have the gold market, and inflation was continually happening since the 70s, you would see gold like in the 80s at, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and people saying, this is kind of odd. Why is gold continually moving up? Especially when we hit the financial crisis in 2008, gold would have shot up like it was doing. They had to stop it from shooting up. But people will go, well, why is it 10,000 or 15,000 now? This doesn't make any sense. What's going on here? They didn't want people to notice. They didn't want people to understand what was really going on. But eventually, I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they want everyone to understand, and they want everyone to realize that the fiat currency is pretty much worth nothing. And this is why I do believe Trump, the Patriots, have the stable coin. They wanted the Genius Act, because you need something to prop the Federal Reserve note up. Because without that, the Federal Reserve note is pretty much worth absolutely nothing. So I do believe this is what they're going to use to prop it up right now to make sure that it doesn't implode on itself while everything else is taking place. And I do believe probably in the next year or so, we're going to see gold, silver, Bitcoin really start to move. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.